Hi everyone, this is Jay from Mathcore Index here today with the Callous Daoboys who just released their exciting new album, Die on Mars. If you all wouldn't mind passing the mic around and saying your name, role in the band, and favorite Google Dolls song.
Motherfucker. It's weird to be on the other end of this. My name's Carson. I'm the vocalist. My favorite Goo Goo Dolls song is Big Machine.
Hello, I am Sam, the drummer of the Callous Daoboys, and I don't even know the Goo Goo Dolls. I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Adam Collins. I play guitar in the Callous Daoboys, and my favorite Goo Goo Dolls song is actually by John Rzeznik and his solo act, and his work on Treasure Planet with I'm Still Here.
That's a great song.
That was a nuanced
That
answer.
I loathe that.
That was beautiful.
Alrighty.
I loved it.
Hi, my name's Amber. I play Gimmick for the Callous Daoboys. Yellow Card Lindsay Sterling, violinist. My favorite Goo Goo Dolls song is Iris, even though I hate that song because I don't listen to Goo Goo Dolls.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and I play bass in the Callous Daoboys, and my favorite Goo Goo Dolls song is All the Small Things.
My name is Maddie. I play guitar in the Callous Daoboys. I've never fucking listened to the Goo Goo Dolls ever in my life, not even once.
Okay. My first question is for anyone in the band. Die on Mars is quite a step up from your last record, Animal Tetris, in many ways. What artists or events inspire you to explore a more experimental, visceral, and technical direction?
Can I take this one? Sure. Is that alright? I would say just like us, the lineup change for sure definitely helped us, made us feel like we could explore a little bit more technical elements. I mean, Animal Tetris was supposed to sound like Die on Mars, but the people that were in the band couldn't play it, which is not shade on them. It wasn't their thing. So getting Sam in the band and getting Jackie in the band, both of them, I gave them sort of a skeleton to write their parts around. You know, I gave Jackie the guitar tabs and Sam had like a electronic skeleton of the drum track, and both of them wrote their own parts, and I honestly think the album would be nowhere near as good as it is if we didn't have the right bassist and the right drummer for it.
And as far as for like the violin part approach goes for this one, I've definitely been more influenced recently by I guess ambient and experimental music in general, things that have more of a breadth of scope and depth versus like melodic parts. And so a lot of the writing that I did for Animal Tetris, rather, Die on Mars, our late recent LP, has kind of been more, it's definitely supposed to like evoke deeper things and be more emotionally poignant than just Riff City, I guess, although it is also that. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's also Riff City.
It is. So,
Very proud of how Riff City it is.
Well, yeah, we're the capital.
We drove you to Riff City in an 18-wheeler, and you better like it.
And then shoved you in a ditch and watched you cry. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. So Carson, personal question for you. As much as the songwriting on the LP matured, so did your voice and a lot of the ad-lib screams, most notably in songs like The Absolute Barnstormer. What gave birth to this less linear style of vocal performance in contrast to your work on previous releases?
I think a lot of it was just me kind of having more time to test out vocals. When I wrote all the vocals to Die on Mars, I wasn't living with my parents, and they hate hearing me scream. So I was like living in this room with like no windows, and I could just scream anytime I wanted. So I could definitely practice more, and I could try new things out, and that's pretty much what it was. It was just trial and error. And then when I brought it to Cory, he would give me all these notes. Cory, our producer, he would give me all these notes about like, you should do this here, and this here. And that's kind of where it all came together. And as far as like the cadence goes, because I've heard a lot of people say that they like the cadence on this release a little bit more than the last one, and that's just accredited to me being a better screamer, I guess, and like me being able to maybe enunciate things a little bit more, and like I was choosing my lyrics very carefully just based on like, you know, how many consonants am I saying, how many syllables am I saying here, like syllabically does this work or not, and then, you know, I would hope for the best.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm actually going to skip to a later question because you brought up Cory. So I'm aware this record has been produced by the very talented Cory Bautista. What led you down the path of deciding Bautista as the person to engineer this release? For anyone, yeah.
I think Maddie could answer that the best.
Yeah, so we have, the reason we picked Cory is hometown friends of ours in a band called Seder. They actually another band from our hometown, Atlanta, called Kakashka. Both of them recorded EPs with Cory, and we hadn't really heard Cory's name around at all or anything. And I think he had only just moved to Atlanta within the last couple of years, and built his own studio in his house and everything. And we'd played with Seder a couple of times, and they were cool. We obviously liked them and everything. But then they put out that EP, and the first song from it, I was blown away. It was a little I was intimidated by how good it was. And we kept tossing around different ideas for different producers and stuff, but I was we should definitely look him up. And he kind of he's really smart, and he's really he's at I feel a similar level in his life that we are. He's not much older than us, and he's kind of trying to build up his own career. This was his first LP that he's ever done. He's mostly just done LP or EPs and short releases and singles and stuff like that. So he kind of he really threw himself into this, and he really believed in it more than a lot of people, a lot of producers.
More
I feel
than we did at certain times too. Yeah, for sure.
He this is as much his baby as it is the rest of ours. I wish he could be at all the shows every night and basking in the credit of everybody being Die on Mars is amazing, because
he understood it better.
Yeah,
as well as the rest of us. I think he got our broader vision.
Yeah, and he also even on stuff that was influences that he didn't totally understand, we would tell him those, and he threw himself into them. He made himself a fan of stuff like Converge and stuff like other
Chariot,
stuff
he got into stuff that he had never listened to before, specifically to know what we wanted to do, which was really cool.
And lastly, even so far as violin parts are concerned, he's had experience playing the cello and stuff. He's familiar
he's a really talented cellist too.
He's familiar with
he plays cello on, and I forgot to credit him, so I feel like an asshole. I need to edit it on Bandcamp, but he plays cello on Die on Mars Sunspot.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yes, that is what that is.
He gets that I think he gets just the nature of writing string parts, I think, a lot better than a lot of people. He's helped me workshop it.
He also did a really big thing. He believed in this record so much that he sent it to the guy that mastered it very early, way before we were into the mastering process at all. And I think really what made me believe in this record was we got such a glowing review from Jesse Cannon, the guy who mastered this record, who is he's done Dillinger records and done crazy insane shit. So when he was this is so different and so impressive, I think we were well, fuck, okay, now we have to actually finish this thing.
Yeah, he was that was honestly, it was kind of cool that Jesse Cannon got to put a little bit of his fingers on it, because he has a bunch of podcasts, and he's he's managed a bunch of bands that I've been fans of for ever. So yeah.
All right, cool. So the saxophone is an excellent addition in the moments it appears throughout Die on Mars. Do you think there's a chance a new band member might be introduced to bring this instrument to live performances?
It's funny you should mention that.
Oh, no.
Rich Castillo is hopping up on stage tonight with us to play 2 songs, so that's very cool.
Very
We're
nice.
in New York right now, which is where he's from. But
Okay.
Yeah, well,
that's nothing permanent.
Yeah, I just love the sound of a saxophone, and I love the sound. We haven't done it yet. We haven't used it yet, but I love the sound of a muted trumpet.
Okay.
And Dillinger's always brought in horned instruments and stuff, and anything that makes our music more shrill is a plus to me. Mm-hmm. So when I gave Rich, I didn't even show Rich Contrail Crucifix, which is a song he plays on. He didn't hear that song until the record was out. Or until we had a full cut of the record that I sent to him. I literally just told him hey, can you improvise something, and then we're gonna put it wherever we think it fits. And he sent me 7 minutes of improvised saxophone, and
cool.
then we used it where we thought it was appropriate. But he heard Barnstormer when he played on it, and he loved it. He thought it was really cool. And he saw us in Brooklyn the last time we were here, and was that was really cool to hear the part that I played on. So I don't think he's going to join the band, but he's absolutely going to be on future releases. That is for sure.
Very cool. So this question is for Amber. From what I can gather, you're a classically trained violinist and also heavily involved in writing for the Callous Daoboys. What has the transition been like going from a classical musician to a member of a mathcore band, and what assets have you carried over from your previous music ventures to this band's songwriting?
Well, it's funny. Insofar as my, just for the record, I've been playing violin for pretty much 10 years now. 4 of those without actual people teaching me or an instructor of any sort. The repertoire I gained while I was playing classical music in an orchestral context was largely like you start out with contemporary classical and things of that nature, even scores to a certain extent, and then you build like a more standard classical repertoire based off of like composers that you would know, like Mozart or Bach or whatever. And in that regard, I definitely gained an appreciation for the fact that violin is very much a multifaceted thing. It's also, in an orchestral context, it's one part of like a very large whole. And as far as that goes, like it isn't just like a very linear thing. I think it's more about evoking lush soundscapes with many other different people. So I think I brought that knowledge that violin isn't just sort of covering pop songs. Even if you like take it outside of an orchestral context, it doesn't have to be just covering pop songs, like riffing off of what's popular, even writing straight covers of other songs in an orchestral context and like thereby sucking the life out of them. So I think I like to think I brought a sense of that into the band, like even just playing in an unconventional way. Like I didn't really listen to the genre beforehand, but kind of got a feel for what would bring the most depth to it, and that was a learning experience for sure. But even just learning how to follow guitar riffs and then building from there, I think that's kind of the process it's been, and it's still been evolving. Even from Animal Tetris to Die on Mars was a huge jump, but yeah, that's sort of the gist of it.
And I'll throw my hat in the ring and say that Amber was like you can even hear the transition. Like we open the first EP with a Vivaldi piece, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And since it's 100 years old, no one can fucking sue us.
No.
But we open it with that, and it was just because we were like, you're in the band to do this like shrill like panic chord thing, but like what else can we use you for? And then it was like, okay, maybe we don't need to do that every release, and it's more like, okay, maybe you could be doing more, just adding depth to these like. Maybe you could just make these guitar parts sound like, more demonic and more just insane.
We've definitely unearthed like a sort of versatility with the instrument. I don't even think we intended to come across where it's like, it doesn't have to, even like just sounding good or playing violin well isn't a linear thing. Like sure, there's classical standards, but I think it has other uses. I think people shouldn't be scared to use it.
And some people really don't fuck with our specific use of the violin. Yeah. And like the people that do, it's very nice that people are like, it's so cool that your panic chords sound so crazy because of the violin. Like, that's very nice. I love those comments. But when people are like, I can't hear the violin, and I'm like, hey.
That's not the point.
That's not the fucking point, dude. Like, we're not a, like.
Sounds bad.
So.
Yeah, I think we also had to, like, kind of walk being nuanced about it instead of we really do not want it to be a gimmick. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think we tried to get pigeonholed that it was going to be a gimmick early on, but now this release was us actually walking that fine line and getting it right. Yeah. I feel like
when I first heard the demo for the first track on the album, Flip Flops at a Funeral, when I first heard the demo, it had only mallets, had only xylophone, no violin. When I heard the release, I think the violin really highlighted everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it really brought that whole section together. So great work with that. So this question is for Jackie. You really put on a stellar performance alongside Carson on this release, with some of the most devastating performances riddled throughout the album.
Oh my God! Yeah.
What vocalists have inspired you in your work on Die on Mars?
Mostly, well, for the past like couple years, most of my listening, like most of what I've been listening to is like just like Converge and stuff like that. Like Jacob Bannon especially. I'm really like a big fan of how like shrill and like just fucking just nasty.
Right.
Just nasty.
Dirty.
Just nasty, dirty, just nasty, shrill fucking bird shrieks that he can emit from his throat somehow. And I guess that's like kind of like stuck with me a little bit, and I try to emulate that when I can, when it makes sense to, rather. But I think that would be like the biggest one for me personally, because I've never really thought about that. Like I usually go into like, if I need to like do a vocal performance, just do it like sporadically, not even like thinking about it, just like scream into the microphone, see what happens. But I think in terms of like influences, I think Converge would be my best bet on that, I guess.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for letting me interview you. Are there any final words?
Sam and Adam didn't really get to speak that much, so
Let's hear a little bit about some of your...
Y'all can talk about whatever you want.
That's cool.
What do we want to talk about?
plug good bands that we liked, that we played with.
For sure.
Tour.
Okay, so listen to Shingard. Shingard is amazing.
For
For your health. Absolutely false accusations. The best band that we've toured with. Yes, they are our boys. One of them is your boy.
Absolutely. I actually own all of them.
Yeah,
legally.
it's true.
Listen to Sleep Sculptor.
Oh yeah,
Sculptor.
Sleep
Oh my
Sculptor
goodness.
is
Sleep
so
Sculptor.
sick.
The threats are really good as well.
Oh, yeah.
We love them.
Who else has been like really cool we played with lately?
Daedalus.
We're playing.
Daedalus.
Daedalus from
is cool.
Tennessee. Black
We're
metal
playing
band from
with
Tennessee.
More of Myself to Kill tonight, and they're standing right
Mom,
behind
Kentucky.
us.
Kentucky.
Yeah, more.
I'm
Myself
excited to
Kill.
play with them. They're really cool. They put out a cool new record.
If you're listening to this, I love you, Mom. I love you now.
Sleep
Oh,
School.
Black Matter Device. Listen to them.
yeah.
Listen to the band that stole their artwork too.
Yep.
We love Harm. Harm is awesome.
Oh yeah, our friends Harm dropped a record the same day we did.
Listen to it.
I cannot stress this enough. Fucking Void Eater, because Void Eater fucking rips
Oh yeah,
ass.
we play with Void Eater and Black Matter Device in a couple of weeks in Atlanta, and that should be a lot of fun.
Right before tour, we got to play with Apostle, and
yeah.
we love playing with Apostle. They're great people.
We're
and-
just shouting
Yeah.
out every band at this point.
All
Fucking
bands are good.
Jerome's Dream,
Carter.
Jillian Carter.
Oh yeah, we play with Jerome's. Yeah.
We keep forgetting that
Can
we're
I
playing
plug-
a gig with Jerome's Dream.
Yeah.
Exodus, listen to
Yeah,
Exodus.
no, this is just like a little bit of a flex, but in September alone, we get to open for Evergreen Terrace, Exodus, and Jerome's Dream, all within 2 weeks.
and Creeping Death.
And Creeping Death. Are they also on
They're
Slaughter Queue?
on Slaughter Queue.
I don't even know the bands we're playing with.
Come
on
see
these
us. Come see us
festivals.
at Perception of Energy, and then
Columbia, South Carolina.
and then come see us at Slaughter Q in Atlanta, and then come see us at the bakery when we open for Jerome's Dream in Loma
And then come over to
Prieta.
my apartment afterwards, where I will make you a hearty meal.
Pattern Recognition does really cool work with tapes.
Dark Trail.
Dark Trail Records does a lot of really cool work with like mathcore bands, chaotic metalcore. Acrobat Unstable did our vinyl, and they work with a lot of really cool like southern bands and like queer artists and stuff like that. They're really cool. Plugging Cory Bautista, plugging Cory Bautista Audio, plugging
Ian Joshua Riley for no reason.
for no
really.
reason, just
Yeah.
to plug him.
Wonderful human.
Plugging Anthony Grasso, if you need graphic design work, he did the really
Jeff
cool
Lazard.
JL photography. He did the cover art.
JLP photography.
No, it's just JL. There's no two P's.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I just now realized
I read it
that.
like that
Yeah.
too, and I want to say it
JLP
like that.
photography.
It's at JL Photography on Instagram, and I think on Facebook. Who else did stuff on this record? Oh, Soha Photography.
Oh, Soha, yeah. Soha Alves.
Soha Alves did all of the promo shots of us that are in the inserts and on our Spotify.
Or also goes by Sam Alves, but yeah.
Yeah.
Stone Fink.
Has done a
and
lot of our live shots.
Sarah Rose from Sarah and the Safe Word.
Yes.
Jason Sherman from Circuit of Suns. And Dead Empires. I got this. Okay. And Johnny Hendricks, whose solo project is very, very good.
He's also in a band called the Mob Tones.
The Mob Tones as well.
Yes.
And I just want to give one final shout out to one person that we have shouted out multiple times, and that is Jay Dino.
End of the interview.
This one's
All
for
right.
you.
Thank you guys so much. Come check out the Callous Daoboys and the Dion Mars tour, which ends today. So
Yeah, this is a
never
lot.
mind.
So no,
But
Find the videos.
stream down.
Guess not.
Stream it.
thanks for watching Mathcore Index.